The surge in liquefied natural gas (LNG) exports fueled by political shifts has left Gulf Coast communities grappling with a crisis of environmental and economic survival. This isn't just a debate over energy policy. It's a battle for the future of entire regions. But here's where it gets controversial. While the U.S. now leads the world in LNG exports, the communities at the heart of this boom are facing a silent, devastating reckoning. "We will keep fighting," says Rebekah Hinojosa, a grassroots advocate who's spent a decade opposing the construction of massive LNG terminals near the Texas-Mexico border. Her fight isn't just about pipelines. It's about preserving the pristine landscapes and livelihoods of a predominantly Hispanic community, already teetering on the edge of disaster. Hinojosa and her allies have waged a relentless campaign, using a death by 1,000 cuts strategy to block projects that would bring billions of cubic feet of gas to global markets. They've lobbied banks, politicians, and insurers to abandon their support for terminals near Brownsville, where one proposed project was canceled in 2021. A major legal victory came last year when a federal court ruled that the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission had failed to fully assess the environmental justice impacts of these terminals. Yet, when Donald Trump won re-election, he rolled back protections that had kept the tide in favor of local communities. 8 months into his second term, 6 projects previously stalled are now moving forward, threatening to reshape the Gulf Coast forever. For residents like Fisher Tad Therio, who once earned $325,000 annually from shrimping near LNG facilities, the stakes are clear. Last year, his income plummeted to $87,000, and he predicts it will drop further this year. "If you don't get away from Cameron, you're not catching shrimp," he says, pointing to a town already home to 3 terminals and 2 more in the works. The irony is stark. While companies promise jobs and economic growth, local leaders say they're getting little peanuts. In Cameron Parish alone, if all proposed terminals are built, the community could lose nearly $15 billion in property tax revenue by 2040. The LNG boom is driven by a paradox. While the U.S. produces vast reserves of natural gas via fracking, the process of turning it into LNG, superchilling it to a liquid state, creates a carbon footprint that's far worse than coal. Even after accounting for shipping costs, LNG exporters stand to make billions, but the true cost is borne by local communities. Environmental advocates like Roishetta Ozane argue that the real profit comes from pollution. "They give little peanuts," she says, referring to the financial incentives given to companies while residents face rising health risks from methane leaks and greenhouse gas emissions. The result? A cycle of environmental degradation and economic neglect that feels like a death sentence for families like hers. Yet the fight isn't over. Activists like Hinojosa and Ozane continue to protest outside corporate headquarters, demanding accountability. "It's about continuing to exist here," she says, echoing the words of residents who see the LNG boom as a threat to their way of life. But can this movement succeed when the political and economic forces pushing for expansion are so deeply entrenched? And if the LNG boom does collapse, will the communities it's ravaged be left to pick up the pieces, or will they become a cautionary tale for future generations? The answer may lie in the choices made today, as the Gulf Coast stands at a crossroads between progress and preservation.